3 facts you probably missed in Inside Out 2. Number 1. During the hockey game, Riley parents wearing the same hockey outfit for Riley's sake actually reference their love for Riley, and it also shows how much they support her even though she doesn't get things right. Number 2. Regardless of the fact that Riley is a mature teenager, she is still giving us the LGBT vibe by wearing the pride cloth color. This movie was supposed to be a different story, not until I noticed that Riley is still into females. Number 3. Before being a teenager, Riley seemed to be doing well in her education as she got good grades, but after the whole teenager rebellion stuff, she seemed to hate school so much. 3 fascinating facts you ignored in Inside Out 2. Number 1. During the class presentation, as Grace was giving a valid reason why pennies are useful, as the jar fell from her hand making her to get laughed at, Riley couldn't help the feeling but to go and help. Not so long the other black girl also joined. This referenced why they became so close to each other. Number 2. Inside Out 2 was more or less like a second chance game because they fixed the relationship between Joy and Sadness. At some point, Sadness felt happiness in her. Number 3. When the Emotions was sleeping, who else noticed the fact that they were having a dream according to their emotions? Anger and Joy can tell. Did you notice these 3 sad facts in Inside Out 2? Number 1. Riley can be spotted getting so angry because she experienced morning puberty smell for the first time as her mom came to console her as a teenager, causing Riley to get upset walking out of her mother, her emotions saying,
"Well, that's a preview of the next 10 years.
It referenced the fact it took Inside Out 2 10 good years before it was released. Number 2. As Sadness was scrolling through the memory lane, she got confused as she saw Riley with other girls, which is unusual. In reality, that actually meant Friendship Island. It referenced their close relationship together. Number 3. Surprisingly, Anger has learned how to control himself as he was spotted putting on a Firehawk's cap instead of exploding his head with fire. Did you notice these 3 complicated things in Inside Out 2? Number 1. As Riley and her friends was chic chatting and making a friendship handshake, all of a sudden we can spot Riley get so sad and pissed off because she had the sad news that her crush Val won't be coming to her hockey game performance. Number 2. After Riley fell down, surprisingly getting a helping hand directly from her crush Val, Riley getting nervous, excited, and not knowing how to feel was what actually brought the existence of anxiety as a character.
Such a huge fan of—
Number 3. Before the trip, if you observe, it was Riley's mom that took over the steering and not the dad, as the dad asked what was going to be their plans after Riley drop off. His reaction was priceless. 3 crazy things about Inside Out 2. Number 1. For those who don't still believe Riley is supporting the LGBT, I have come with a proof. As Riley woke up angry and disturbed behind her, you can spot the LGBT color, which signifies her love and insecurities over the pride flag. Number 2. As the Emotions woke up disturbed and stressed out because of the loud beep from the red button which caused panic among them. If you notice, the puberty on the button was spelt incorrectly. But if you look closely, you will get to know that it was written in Spanish and not English. Number 3. As the head constructor came into the Emotions apartment, reconstructing Riley console as it triggered Riley, causing her to almost wake up. If you notice, they immediately rushed out because they knew if she woke up, they would be all erased out. Did you notice these 3 terrifying facts in Inside Out 2? Number 1. As the new emotions came, they seemed to dislike all the new emotions, especially envy and anxiety. But if you observe, embarrassment is the only emotion that got a proper welcoming greeting, while Ennui was just feeling useless. Number 2. After Riley finished playing, taking her hockey game break, not so long she overheard the other team gossiping behind her back with her name, as she got so sad. Embarrassment and anger trying controlling the console together was just an epic sad moment. Number 3. As Riley was trying to convince Val to be on her team, as anxiety took control of the console, making it so easy for Val to accept Riley as teammate. As everyone started celebrating anxiety, you can spot Joy get jealous. 3 sophisticated facts in Inside Out 2. Number 1. As anxiety and crew decided to journey down to the core memory lane, regardless of the fact that embarrassment was so big was spotted coming out from the tiny teleportation machine. I think that's an animation mistake. Number 2. Anxiety removing Riley core memory and sending it off to the abandoned memory lane, plays a reference to how Riley turned her back on her friends and betrayed them. Number 3. As anxiety was about to take her memory in order to put it into the core memory river, as the emotions rushed to stop her, Anger can be heard saying a very bad word.
For my dead flaming body!
3 obvious facts you probably missed in Inside Out 2. Number 1. You can actually spot the A113 written in Roman's numerals on top of the vault. Number 2. As the emotions was been transported to Riley's secret memory vault, on their way you can spot a Riley frame with a Spanish language on it. Most of the animators was Spanish this time. Number 3. As the emotions was been captured in a bottle, Goofy coming to chit-chat with them was just so cute.
Riley still likes the show!
Did you notice these 3 heartbreaking facts in Inside Out 2? Number 1. As Goofy was playing an iconic role by asking Patchy what solution he could bring, as Patchy came off Goofy's waist in order to bring some solution. If you notice, Goofy was left naked. Number 2. In all the emotions, Joy is the only one that seemed to be walking barefooted throughout the movie. Number 3. As Patchy finally came up with some solutions in order to help the emotions break free, as Goofy was about to ask the audience what they wanted, as Anger got angry, immediately rushing with the tint breaking free. This was just Disney taking us to the Mickey Mouse era. Did you notice these 3 fake facts in Inside Out 2? Number 1. As Joy and crew was trying to get to headquarters, as Joy decided to make a plan illustration on how they will get there, the rough paper animation they used was actually said to be the easiest but hardest animation yet. Number 2. Disgust is known for her ignorant character of giving attitude, but to my surprising she fell in love with Lance, the cool dude from the video game. Number 3. Regardless of the fact that Lance looks so heroic, he is one of the most useless power ever, but unknowingly it seemed to work out for him. 3 fantastic facts you missed in Inside Out 2. Number 1. Who else noticed the fact that Embarrassment as a character never spoke a single word in the movie? Let's just call him a low-budget character. Number 2. Who else noticed the fact that Sadness and Joy has the same hair color? Seems like they have a lot in common, that's why they are so close to each other. Number 3. After Riley, Val and crew finished playing hockey, as they were heading home, inside the coach office you can spot the famous Pixar lamp that normally appears in the beginning of every Pixar movie. 3 facts that will make you nervous in Inside Out 2. Number 1. Who else found it kinda weird how Riley is hanging out with only black girls? The main reason is because Riley wanted Val to like her so much. She was just trying to fit in. Number 2. Ennui is a character that has been known to be useless throughout the movie, but when it was time for him to control the console, he made sure that it affected not only Riley, but the other emotions actually experienced a shake. Number 3. When watching this movie, I got to know what sarcasm actually meant and why the guards didn't want to help the emotions. Well, sarcasm actually meant Riley's sexually aroused side.
Bet you're the best crane crew in the world!
Wow, those guys are jerks.
3 facts that make so much sense in Inside Out 2. Number 1. It's so surprising, but did you know that Envy is said to be the youngest character? Not only in looks, but she was voiced by a 10-year-old initially.
What are you doing?
Number 2. Joy signifies happiness, but when the emotions pissed her off, she got so angry, pouring out all her emotions out. For the very first time, we can spot Joy cry out.
And that hurts!
Number 3. Envy first impression was so bad, because if I recall, she is the first person that pulled the LGBT card, especially when she couldn't resist Val. 3 embarrassing fact you ignored in Inside Out 2. Number 1. As the emotions was running away from the guards, so they won't get caught, if you notice they were judging the floating balloon by its occupation, salary, and value in real life.
Oh, Supreme Court Justice!
Number 2. As the emotions arrived Imagination Island, Pixar actually addressed the LGBT issue by showing Riley 4 childhood crush, which are males, so that actually means Riley turned gay when she entered puberty. Number 3. As Embarrassment attention got caught by the noise he heard, just for him to get there and notice that it was Sadness, as she pleaded, Embarrassment instinctively helping Sadness actually reference his love for her. 3 disturbing facts you missed in Inside Out 2. Number 1. As anxiety was pressurizing the crew, many of you will be wondering which memory Embarrassment was so worried about. Well, he was trying to recall the moment whereby Riley mocked her friends in order to keep the crew to like her, and that was so embarrassing. Number 2. After a rough day, as Riley was about to go to bed, you can spot the famous Pixar lamp that appears in all Pixar movies. Number 3. As Joy cried, the advice Anger gave to her was everything.
Joy, you've made a lot of mistakes. Think a whole lot more in the future. We might as well lie down and give up now.